Welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to be discussing Brian Harsin's new hire for offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. Before we start, make sure you go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get right into it. The selection of Mike Bobo as offensive coordinator at Auburn has been a divisive pick, to say the least. You had some experts saying this was a home run hire, while others weren't so sure. Part of the skepticism comes from a rumor that happened during the coaching search, and there was the rumor out there that Mike Bobo was being looked at as offensive coordinator before Brian Harsin was hired. And so then when you had Coach Bobo get hired, that rumor kind of continued. How true that was remains to be seen, but that is something that is in people's minds still. The other criticism I've seen of Mike Bobo is that his offensive mindset is kind of old and outdated, and he's failed to move with the times. And so that is something that concerns a lot of people. They think he's just an old school guy, and he's not updated his offensive plans and his offensive game plan, and that's something that concerns a lot of fans. But once again, we've not seen the guy. He had one season as offensive coordinator since he was head coach at Colorado State. So I don't know how fair that is to put on this guy in 2021 when he was only offensive coordinator for 1 year after being a head coach. Personally, I don't think we should judge the guy based on one season at South Carolina. After all, they did beat us this year. They beat Auburn. So I don't know how much judging we should be doing of Mike Bobo at South Carolina when he beat us. Let's go ahead and take a look at Mike Bobo's career and the stats he has as head coach and offensive coordinator. And we're going to start out by looking at how he did as a head coach at Colorado State. In December of 2014, Mike Bobo was hired as head coach of Colorado State. He was taking over after Jim McElwain left, and he finished that season in 2014 with a 10-3 record. So as you can see on this table at the top, let's look down here. In Mike Bobo's first 3 seasons at Colorado State, he had a 7-6 record. Pretty average for a coach. And then in 2018, that's when the wheels really started to fall off. In 2018, he took the Colorado State Rams to a 3-9 record, and then in 2019, their record was 4-8. And after that season, that is when Mike Bobo and Colorado State decided to part ways. The final game of that season was against Boise State. And so that makes me think that Brian Harsin and Mike Bobo actually have a relationship ahead of time. They clearly played against each other, and so it's very possible they knew each other, and that this hire was not some sort of Auburn collusion. It was actually made because Brian Harsin already had a previously established relationship with Mike Bobo. Is that for sure the truth? I don't know, but that's just speculation on my part. It seems very possible that he knew the guy, he respected the guy, and that's why he wanted him to join his staff at Auburn. To be honest, Mike's career as a head coach is nothing really to be too excited about. As you can see, he never got above 7 wins. But the truth is, Brian Harsin didn't hire him to be a head coach. So let's go ahead and look at the stats that matter, and that's his stats as offensive coordinator. First, I want to show you Mike Bobo's stats as offensive coordinator when he was at South Carolina, which was this past year. And the reason I want to start there is because it's just 1 year, so it's easy to digest. So if you look, I'm looking at the 2020 season, and we're just going to compare the SEC stats. So I've got it pulled up. And as you can see, South Carolina is towards the bottom. They are 5th from the bottom. So not doing too great. I guess they're about 9th in the SEC for total offense. But I will break that down just a little bit more, and we'll look at rushing offense and passing offense as well. So let me swap it over to passing offense. And you can see passing offense is even worse. They are the second worst team this season in the SEC in passing offense. So that's not a whole lot to be excited about. But keep in mind that he was only a coach there 1 year. Let's swap it over to rushing and see if it looks any better. And oh, yeah. So this is the notable part to me. It looks like South Carolina's rushing offense was better than Auburn. So that's something. I don't know if that's saying a lot. Tank had an awesome year for Auburn, but it is a little disappointing that they had a better offense than we did, at least rushing. Let me preface that. They had a better rushing offense than we did, and that's something since he is coming to our team. So there you go. There you have it. For his Georgia stats as offensive coordinator, he was there a long time. He was there from 2007 through 2014 when he got hired as the head coach for Colorado State in December. So we've got several years that we can look at while he was at Georgia. So first, let me explain what I did. I just took all the information that I just showed you for South Carolina, and I pulled the same stats for Georgia, and I just put them on a table so we can easily compare it. And so let me tell you what these numbers mean first. So you see the year going down the side, starting with 2007 and going through 2014. And I just looked at how Georgia compared to the rest of the SEC for total offense in this first column, passing in the second column, and rushing. And I just told how they placed in the SEC for that season. So, for example, if we look at the 2007 season, they placed 6th in the SEC for total offense, 8th for passing offense, and 4th for rushing offense. If you see where it's highlighted yellow, anytime they finished in the top 4 of the SEC for the respective offensive category, I highlighted it in yellow. And just because I personally think it's notable if you finish in the top third. So as you can see, he started out doing pretty well. 2008 was a very notable year. Total offense finished 2nd in the SEC, and passing offense finished 1st in the SEC with 5th in rushing offense. The concerning trend you probably notice on the right side is with the rushing offense. Started 4th, then went to 5th, then 7th, then 10th. That's really concerning. If you look to the right, though, those seasons kind of match up. So we had a descending production on the rushing with rushing, and the records on the right: 11-2 overall, 10-3, 8-5, and finally 6-7 in 2010. After that, the records for the team improved overall, and likewise, the offensive production showed a vast improvement and became much more consistent. So if we look at 2011 through 2014, that seems to be where Mike Bobo's offense really hit its stride. And as you can see, every single category for those 4 years was in the yellow in the top third of the SEC. Every single year with the exception of 2013 in rushing offense and 2014 passing offense. But outside of that, those 4 years were just stellar for Mike Bobo's offense. Once you really take a look at the pros and cons of Mike Bobo as offensive coordinator, I think it's clear that he is a good choice. It's obvious that he can develop high-quality quarterbacks, and his offense can really produce on the field. The number one reason I'm happy with this hire is his ability to recruit. So before we go, I want to show you some of the top players that Mike Bobo has recruited to some of his teams, specifically Georgia. So let's look at some of those top recruits that he pulled to Georgia when he was there from 2007 to 2014. First up, you have former 5-star running back Sonny Michel. Next, who can forget one of the best recruits to come through Georgia, Nick Chubb. I was going to show you video of this one, but all the video from when he played is pretty grainy. But we also can't forget about this recruit that Mike Bobo pulled in, Matthew Stafford. And finally, one of the best quarterbacks to come through Georgia, Aaron Murray. Say what you want about the guy. It is clear he is going to be able to pull some talent to Auburn. And if you want to be worried about his offense being stale, this is what I have to say to you. Bryan Harsin is the head coach. He is an offense-minded guy, and I don't for 1 second think that he is going to have an offense that does not produce, that does not put points on the board, and does not just run up the yards on the field. I just don't believe that at all. Bryan Harsin and his staff they're going to do what they have to do to win games, and I think as Auburn fans, we should trust in the coach, trust his process, and trust that he's going to do what he needs to do to win at Auburn. In my last video, I asked you to share some comments on what you thought about the hire of Mike Bobo, and so I wanted to share one of those comments with you. This comment comes from Mitchell Kennedy. Hey Chase, although I wasn't initially that fond of the Bobo hire, I think it could ultimately work out well. He and Harsin seem to have a good relationship and share the same offensive philosophy. I think once the pieces are in place, we as Auburn fans will be proud of the product on the field. I enjoy the videos, keep them coming. Thank you for the comment, Mitchell, and if you guys have any comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.